The future becomes the past. Chapter 2: The Desert and the Traces of Hollywood. The newcomers were still in their sleep cabins when the lights suddenly turned on, waking them all. A military officer gathered them and led them into the cadet mess hall. A breakfast had been set up just for them. As the commander entered, one cadet jumped to his feet and called out, "Attention!" The others followed and stood up as well. The commander smiled, turned to the newcomers and said, "You don't need to stand up. I can't even borrow one of you just like that." Then he turned to the regular cadets and delivered the daily briefing. When Ronnie entered the room, it was the commander himself who called out attention. And once again, everyone stood. Ronnie made a slightly uncomfortable face. She was clearly Tajana's friend. Still, she returned the greeting by placing her hand over her heart. She spoke quietly with the commander, who clearly had different plans but showed no resistance or disapproval. Then he addressed the cadets. "Our daily schedule is cancelled. Today, you'll follow Ronnie. That's an order." He saluted her and left the room. Ronnie turned to the group. "The medics have informed me that not all of you are handling what you call the Freeman suit properly. So today, we'll go through it again. I'll be selecting a few of you who've proven very skilled with the suit. But to make sure no one feels singled out, some who are good with it will stay in the group as well. Those I select, I simply ask you to help the others." She motioned for a boy and a girl to step aside. "You two became squad leaders?" she asked. In military tone, they replied, "Yes, that's correct." She took a deep breath. "A simple yes would have been enough," she said with a smirk. "Well, tough luck for you two," she added playfully. The suit really did resemble something straight out of a Hollywood prop department, like a Freeman suit but with subtle upgrades. Some of the newcomers made unpleasant noises when they had to insert the nasal tubing. Once everyone had properly suited up, the heat test began. Inside the training room, the temperature slowly climbed to 45 degrees Celsius. At 30 degrees Celsius, a command was issued: "Attach heat box." Ronnie and her assistants pulled small boxes from their suit pockets, held them up so everyone could see. Then clipped them onto belt-mounted slots. The heat energy converter in the box activated the suit's coolant flow. And small diodes along heat control strips lit up. Ronnie turned to the squad leader cadet. "Informational briefing. Explain what this is and why they need it." The cadet stepped forward. "As you can feel now, a coolant liquid flows through your suit, regulating your body temperature. It's designed for use in temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius. But can also help in cases of poisoning or high fever. This suit is built for deserts and other hot environments, not for volcanic or furnace work. The outer layer is made from natural tree resin, basically, rubber. Important to know, at temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius, proteins in your body start to cook. Your flesh and brain begin to coagulate like scrambled eggs. Bottom line, this suit is vital for survival and must remain intact." She stepped back, but Ronnie clearly expected more. When nothing followed, Ronnie asked, "And what's your job?" Startled, the cadet stepped forward again. "You must always test and check your suit before entering desert or hot zones. But my responsibility is to make sure that happens." "Good," Ronnie said, then leaned in and whispered with a serious face. "Today, you've got 2 in the infirmary from heat stroke and 1 died from heat stroke-induced heart failure." The cadet swallowed hard. "Wind demon!" Ronnie suddenly called out, spinning around. Her helper cadets stepped forward, pulling hoods from their collars and raising them over their heads. Pulling the high collar fabric up over their noses. Ronnie turned back and said dryly, I said wind demon, not sandstorm. She was now wearing a breathing mask. She switched off the simulation and called an officer over the intercom. An instructor arrived. Ronnie scribbled a note on her report pad and handed it to the officer. The civilian team escorting the cadets, they're all dead. Diagnosis: sandstorm with plastic gases. The people are dead, she said aloud. Everyone, sit down, Ronnie ordered. She stood as if mentally connected to one or more others. Then she took off her suit. Will you protect me? She asked the officer. He knew it wasn't a question, but a mandatory order. He nodded. She asked again. Yes, ma'am. I will protect you, ma'am, came the response. Good, thank you. She put the suit on inside out and looked puzzled, trying to figure out how to get the nasal tube on her nose. The senior cadets immediately stood up and urged the others to stay serious. Too many mistakes, and the officer would lose his position as instructor. He quickly pulled himself together. No, wait, follow me. Step by step, he demonstrated as if she was a 10 to 12-year-old. Ronnie acted impatient and clumsy, quickly making the officer sweat seriously. She repeated this with the squad leaders, just as exhausting. A holographic dolphin appeared and nodded at Ronnie before vanishing again. The officer refreshed himself with some water. He knew the consequences from the dolphin. Now, he wouldn't get his old post back, as it was either he lost it completely, or he got promoted. Sandstorm, Ronnie signaled. Immediately, everyone pulled up their hoods and raised their collars to half-face masks. Locust flight. Black pop-up no-pre tunnels were erected like tents, and everyone hid inside. Dusk. The officer took the thermometer and, when the temperature dropped below 25 degrees Celsius, signaled to remove the box from their belts. Since Ronnie was counted as only 10-12 years old for the exercise, the officer wanted to remove hers himself. She nodded to him but waved over the squad leader to do it under his supervision. Ronnie switched off the lights. Now the sun has completely set. The room temperature adjusted to match the stress scenarios. It got so cold that dew formed in the air. The leaders rubbed their bodies over their suits until the temperature diodes on the suits turned green again. Like a heating pad, the suits began to warm slightly. Ronnie turned to her rookies. If you feel cold in the suit, just repeat the rubbing. She turned to a small female cadet. What do we do once we've used the night mode heater? We hand the suit over for a general inspection after we return. Because. Ronnie stopped her, turned to the officer, and said, the squad earns 10 points. Then she turned to a male cadet from the other squad. Where and why do we do this? We do it at the clothing depot, because rubbing the heating pads can cause other tubes to shift or get damaged. Very good, you also get 10 points. The cadets cheered. Okay. Stage 2. We are all new, so you cadets have been brought in to help us all come back healthy and safe. Are you still 12? Asked a cadet. Ronnie thought for a moment, shook her head, slid a chip into her wristband, and held it up. The officer grinned. The wristband was light blue with pink edges. I hand over, she said, pointing to the officer and squad leaders. Everyone, put your suits on again. The officer now wanted to help Ronnie put on her suit, but she gasped in shock and pulled away from him. I'm a girl, after all, she protested. The squad leader immediately jumped to Ronnie's side. Only if no girl or woman is available, Ronnie reminded, giving the rookies a sign to remember this too. Ronnie again acted extremely clumsy and, on top of that, ticklish. By the end, the cadet was sweating before she even put on her suit but received praise from Ronnie. Now the cadets were thoroughly stressed. Ronnie randomly selected some who simulated being close to overheating, heat stroke, and dehydration. Just before the youngest lost concentration, she called, "Exercise over." "Except for you," she said to the squad leader. "You all can go to lunch. My teens will handle the rest. Take notes on whatever you need. Tomorrow you'll have a repeat, and then this part gets serious for you." The cadets stayed in the mess hall fully geared up, while the others went out. She turned back to her cadet and tugged childishly at her sleeve. The girl looked up and asked, "Yes? What is it?" I. She shyly crouched down to make herself smaller. After a moment, she leaned in so Ronnie could whisper in her ear. "I need to go to the bathroom," Ronnie said. The cadet looked at her, startled. "Can you do this? Would you help a girl out there in the middle of nowhere? You put the suit on her, and she can't handle it." She wanted to take the suit off Ronnie, but Ronnie held her hand firmly. "No, first you tell the others who are leading so they hold on, then you step back. And do you want to take off the whole suit in this heat? But for now, it's fine. Exercise over." But Ronnie didn't let her go to break yet and called the commander. When he appeared, Ronnie said to him, "You need a new squad leader. Keeping her as squad leader is a waste." The girl made a shocked face. "I want her in the protégé program." Since the cadet clearly didn't know what that meant, Ronnie added, "Explain it to her, but today she stays with me. Give her a mentor." "Thank you, ma'am, it's an honor," he replied. Then he went with the cadet to the mess hall and explained to her. "Ronnie picked you as a personal protection escort for a child, like a diplomat's child even out in the desert." Surprised, she stopped. "Me?" "Yes, your performance during the exercise must have impressed her. But you still have to accept the offer in writing and your parents must agree. You'll probably only see fights to keep your protégé out of them. You'll probably go to South America for a semester. Maybe Israel or the Foreign Legion. Afterwards, only someone who doesn't know you will touch your protégé." Ronnie came into the cadet mess hall wearing jeans, a t-shirt, flip-flops, countless small braided braids, oversized hoop earrings, and a fake belly button piercing. The officer covered his face with his right hand and looked through his fingers. She went to the cadet and said childishly, "My mommy said I'm your protégé." The cadet tried to stroke her hair and said, "It's okay." But Ronnie quickly dodged and symbolically held a blade to her throat for a few seconds, then put it away and explained, "You have to be careful that something like this isn't taken as a hostile intent." "Okay." She turned to the officer and said, "We won't judge something like that today. The training hasn't started yet. So your protégé, but your life." She handed the officer an envelope. After reading the letter, he began. "Our mission is, we go to Transformer Station 8, replenish water and first aid supplies, and check the condition of blankets and other emergency gear. This is not an exercise, but a mission. Also, as part of the exercise, Ronnie will be explained the functions of the emergency supply systems and will be brought to the station and back safely in her role. Zamana will not assist with the task, she is assigned to Ronnie's role." "Ronnie, which role do you take?" Ronnie looked as if snapped out of thought, shrugged, and slipped a chip into her wristband. She put on a show so everyone would know it wasn't her decision. She raised her arm so everyone could see. The wristband symbolized the diplomat's daughter. The officer loaded his pistol with neurostimulation darts and gave the cadet a similar weapon. "Focus please," the darts hurt in reality. The cadet took a deep breath. Ronnie took a deep breath and said, "Okay, I'll play 15 years old, but maybe on the way back I'll be younger, so I might already be tired and exhausted." The cadets grinned, and some said, "Yeah, sure, tired and exhausted." Ronnie grinned back. Ronnie took the suit and said to Zimana, "Okay, I'm already 15, you go first, I'll try to follow." First, Ronnie left out the boots. Zimana wondered, "Didn't you get boots?" The gear had been packed and double-checked by security for everyone. Ronnie said she was curious and had already rummaged through the room. Zimana checked the whole package again. Ronnie left out more pieces. "Oh, I think we should check your room again, you probably forgot to put some things back in." Ronnie placed her hand on the gear. "If something like this happens, you get a new set and return the others after collecting them. Don't reissue them as safe." She pulled out a new package. Now she acted only slightly clumsy but quite reluctant to remove the jewelry and braids for safety reasons. The hardest part for Zimana was that Ronnie also used some of her diplomatic skill. Until Zimana finally said, "Phew, you really are a diplomat's daughter." Ronnie burst out laughing and gave up that resistance for the moment. Now came the whys. After a full hour, they set off but returned after 10 minutes. 3 cadets were dead according to the life monitoring screen. They had to stay for safety reasons so the faults could be fixed. On the way, there were heat and dehydration hazard drills. When they reached the post and refilled everything, the cadets had to explain every life-saving function and got grades from the officer. Ronnie didn't interfere except with one cadet, she said. "I didn't understand anything at all." His English wasn't good enough to convince her he was clear. "What's your main language?" asked Ronnie. "Arabic." "Arabic?" repeated Ronnie. "Get a language sticker from the clothing depot and speak more English in your team. Then we won't have to search so long when we need Arabic out here." She looked at the officer. "Make it an order. I want to see him tonight with an Arabic sticker." Suddenly, a girl flinched and held her hand. "Scorpion," she said quietly. "Did it get through?" She nodded. "Big or small?" She shrugged. He named a name and said, "Report to headquarters and everyone get out of here, and fumigate." He pointed to 3 of the elders, "Check the defense scent cannulas." The 3 confirmed the order and set off. After almost half an hour, a hover glider arrived and picked up the stung cadet. It flew around the station, firing warning buoys into the ground and picking up 3 cadets and dropping them back with the others. "Continue the exercise, I'll take care of the scorpion," said a botanist and got off. Ronnie stopped the botanist. "Alone? What is this now?" She was angry, gave the officer a nod and said, "We wait here. Going back is part of the exercise." She signaled that she would not accept any objection and that there would be consequences. A technical problem with the frequency regulator turned out to be the reason the buoys remained set, and a technician team was informed by radio. Ronnie approached the botanist and said, "We continue training now. Don't be surprised, but join in, it's important." She put his right arm in a sling and fixed it tightly to his torso with a bandage. "You have to help the cadets now so they can help you if, which I hope won't happen, this time it should be serious." She felt the botanist was annoyed. Then she went with the botanist in tow to the squad leader cadet and said, "Your protégé, but don't treat him like a child or inexperienced." The cadet repeated it as an order. She went to the officer and said, "Explain to the scientist the situation of my role, but make it clear to him that I can still give him instructions which he has to follow." The officer seemed visibly amused as he closely watched her annoyed reaction. Ronnie's eyes turned black for a moment. I'm playing 8 years old now. Then her eyes returned to normal. The officer and a few cadets now knew this 1.5 hour session could turn into 2 to 3 hours, making them late for dinner, because now they had to practice being an escort and protector for a perhaps already slightly tired little child. And so it was. I can't anymore, I'm thirsty, it's so hot, and my feet hurt, followed. Until the botanist freaked out. Ronnie removed the chip and declared the exercise over. In the entrance hall, she stopped everyone once again, praised the cadets, and went to the botanist, taking the officer along. She looked at the officer. You are my witness. Then she turned to the botanist and revoked his desert exit permission indefinitely. And as long as this is the case, I relieve the cadets of their protection support duty over him until further orders. Zamana, please return the incomplete suit and show them this chip. She nodded and left. Ronnie turned to the officer. The cadets get permission to sleep in until 10 tomorrow. Zamana handed in the suit and the chip. Oh, your first one, said the woman in the clothing depot as she deactivated the chip. Zamana nodded, looking confused. The chip says you took good care of your protégé in the desert, and the parents gave you 5 stars. But I haven't even started this training yet, and my parents have to agree first. That doesn't matter, the points are already on your account. You know, the parents or the clients can look at the stars before making their choice. Not her, Ronnie interjected as she now joined. She is very patient. If she stays that way, she won't be free for general assignment. Then I'll give her missions or maybe just one. Ronnie exchanged a belt box, confirmed the exchange, and walked away. Whispering to Zamana, don't forget dinner. As Zamana still stood there stunned, the woman said. Oh, was your protégé the daughter of a president and you didn't know? That, it was playing Ronnie herself as a child. Well, congratulations, you clearly passed the entrance test. She'll make sure you succeed if she vouches for you as capable. Most sweat under her as a mentor or sponsor, but none have failed yet. The head of the stretcher hall construction was also chosen by her, took half a year longer, but you see, he's top. If you missed the first episode, just go to my channel and check the content list. If you don't want to miss the next episode, follow this channel. Of course, a thumbs up wouldn't hurt either.